Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another awesome episode of the Life and Air Show podcast. I'm your host, Jason Wojo. We got Polish Peter as a co-host. And in case you're wondering, in case this is your very first time here, the whole message, our MO on the Life and Air Show is to help people live like the life they want to live. And that means different things to different people. And that's why we cover a number of different topics on these shows to help you live the life that you want to live, to help you create the vision and give you the tools and the steps to start living that vision. And today, man, we're going to talk about something that is crucial to living our vision. This is for everybody, which is rest, right? How do you actually incorporate rest into your schedule? What does rest look like? How do we define it? And what is the benefit and the reasons why we want to make this something that is really a priority for many people who are just, tired of running ragged and they're running around with their hair on fire constantly. As you can tell here, I'm pretty good at this. You are not, my friend. But let's kind of dive into this, bro.
I just go and sit under the tree and hug a tree and then I'm good. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I mean, in the old country, that's what they did.
Well, yeah, that's right. Listen, on the serious side of things, I mean, there's different kinds of, because people sometimes feel like they come to me and have a conversation about burnout, right? Or I feel exhausted, or I'm constantly on the go, or whatever it might be. And I feel like I need to take a vacation. In fact, I mean, I had a conversation yesterday with one of my students where he basically said, because he's got a vacation coming up and it's a longer vacation, he goes, I feel like I need this because I've been go, and I feel like, I'm burning out. So first things that I would encourage you, if you are in that kind of place, just look from the perspective, what kind of a quote unquote burnout is it really? Because a lot of times people don't look from that perspective because there's emotional, right? There is physical, there is mental, there is spiritual, and all those kinds of things. And most of the time people just go and automatically talk about physical, I think. You know what I mean? Because we, work hard or whatever it might be, I'm just tired, right? So, but recognizing the first thing, which one is it? Is it the mental? Is it the spiritual? Is it,
well, why don't you define those for people so they're clear on what those mean?
So now you're gonna have to do all the work here?
I mean, dude, I'm the pretty face. You're the
listen, that is up for a vote. I don't think that is actually the case, but you might be the older face. I'll go with that. I think you're the older face, but okay. So listen, physical, I think it's pretty, you've been working physically and for, so many hours and you are just physically exhausted, right? You can't lift anything. So that's pretty, I think, self-explanatory. Mental, if you have been having mental gymnastics going on, the conversation's constantly going and you're never able to feel like you can rest your mind and your mind is all over the place and you're going in 20,000 directions. There are squirrels going around and you just feel like there are so many things out of the control, right? And you are, it just seems like it never stops. The chatter never stops. And at some point you feel like you're I just can't take this anymore kind of thing, burnout kind of thing, right? So that's mental. Emotional, I would say, is what ends up happening a lot of times. It's obviously connected to your emotions. What does that look like? Well, if you are, if you pay attention to your day and pay attention to your days, maybe weeks, you start noticing which emotions am I experiencing a lot. Is it worry? Is it stress? Is it happiness? Is it I'm content, or I'm kind of feeling anxiety, or there is this underlying feeling that there's something is off, right? And it's like this kind of seems like I can get away from it, or is it anger, or is it those emotions are constantly? Because if you think about it, you have this battery in you, and if you have these emotions all over the place, and you're just going up and down like a yo-yo, pretty soon you're gonna get exhausted. And then there is the spiritual, right? I mean, from different people, it's like being connected with the Lord or whatever it might be. So if you constantly, maybe you're in a bad place in your life and you're feeling like God's nowhere to be found. Or you constantly keep searching. You're maybe you feel disconnected and you feel like, things are just not, there where I want them to be kind of on a spiritual perspective. I think people can actually burn out because they keep searching and searching and searching. And they have this way of looking for God, for Lord, and he's right there, but they're looking over here in this one particular spot. So before you know it, you kind of it's over. It's, where is he at? That kind of stuff, right? And they kind of give up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I think
A little bit. That should be like a lot.
Well, I think if when I think about rest, the first thing that comes to mind is like, well, why do you need rest? And I feel like there's a few contributors to people feeling like they need to rest. Now, of course, like we're not going to talk in depth here about, for instance, nutrition, the proper, I'd say the proper, 8 hours of sleep, 9 hours of sleep, whatever it is for you that you need. Everybody, you kind of know what you need. When you get a good night's sleep, you look at how much time you slept. And so taking food and hydration, water, and sleep out of it. Like those are everybody knows that. Like, let's just talk about that.
Not everybody, but I will tell you this. If you eat crap, you're going to be exhausted mentally and physically,
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like everybody knows these are the low level solutions. Like these are the first things to look at. If you're tired all the time, these are the first places I would look. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Because water is a crucial element for like so many parts of your body to function appropriately and correctly. And then lastly is like, are you eating junk, or are you eating processed carbs and sugars and empty calories, or are you eating more good fats, or you eating more proteins? That's the first place to look. So you have three solutions right off the bat. But beyond that, I think there's something a lot deeper here to consider when it comes to rest, and that is like there's a few places I think that contribute to, you mentioned earlier, burnout. Number one, I think is, it's the mental frame around the work you do. So for instance, if you view things as an obligation or a have to versus a get to, that's going to feel like it's going to drain your emotional, your physical, whatever battery you're talking about here. And it's not going to feel as good. And therefore it feels like an obligation. It's not going to feel like something that is going to give you energy, but rather take it away. So that's the first thing that I would think, if I'm looking at like, take Life in Air, for instance, if I looked at this as a job and I got to do this and I gotta like create this training and I gotta like create these posts, like that's going to feel icky to me, and it's going to feel like work, and I'm not going to enjoy it. But if I look at it like, hey, I get to share some things that I've learned from, almost 20 years in business. I get to share a lesson I just walked someone through and it was valuable for them. It's a solution that now somebody else can go and apply. That's a very different feeling for me. So I get to do this and I get to impact people versus have to do it. So I think that's one of the big things in business, especially. And that goes for any part of your life. Like if you feel like, I got to go drop off the kids, or I got to go to the grocery store, versus like, now admittedly, some of these things you're going to have to stretch more than others to find a empowering meaning behind it. And maybe some of those things you get off your plate. We've talked about that on episodes in the past, but like, what if you looked at that commute time with your kid as like a great time to connect and talk and hear about their day and have fun and joke around, versus like, I'm going to be stuck in traffic for 20 minutes. Like how you look at this stuff makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, totally, and because like you said, that's an easy kind of, not easy, simple way of framing it. Do I get to, or do I have to? Kind of
yeah.
Just in relationship, I have to talk to my wife again.
Oh, yeah,
talk to my wife again. You know what I mean? So I think that's an important aspect. So when you start looking from that perspective, think about it this way. Here's how I look at it. Imagine like your body is like this iPhone, right? And overnight you charge it and it gets 100%. And the beginning of the day, you have 100% of that battery. And as you go throughout the day, depends on what apps you're using, depends on how long you've been on this phone, depends on which apps are more draining or not. The battery that drains really fast, or it's not draining at all. Like we've had all these days kind of a thing, right? So when you think about it in your body, it's almost like, I've looked at it like that way. So at the beginning of the day, if you slept really well, you had a good night's sleep, you have 100% battery. And then notice, like, what does your day look like? Do you jump all over the place? You go from one thing to another? Do you constantly, is this have to versus get to? Have to's drain the battery a lot faster than the get to's. If I'm constantly going 20,000 different directions, then I have to switch between these apps constantly. So that's draining my battery. And then by the time I'm, at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my battery is at 20%, then I have to take a nap. And then I have, then I feel like I'm recharging this battery. That's why the naps, it's a whole bunch of kahooey kind
well,
of
dude, yeah. So one thing I did like about what you said is that,
There's one thing.
sorry, bro. It's one, so one thing that was valuable was like the apps, right? You have all these apps open. Well, I want you to think of your life as having different tabs open. Like how many things are you actively mentally juggling or even physically juggling? And you're like, and unfortunately, I don't like to say it this way, but it's almost like you're chasing your tail, and that is exhausting, and you're going in circles instead of checking off boxes and getting things done and moving on to the next thing. You're kind of maybe a little bit undisciplined in the way you focus to get things completed, and then therefore you always feel like you have 1,000 things to do because like nothing ever gets done. And so, and by the way, this is no judgment because this is a daily struggle for me where like I have, multiple things always going on in my head. I would consider myself to struggle a little bit with attention, and I've had to find the ways to deal with this. But if you don't check those boxes and move on, you always just feel in this perpetual state of being overwhelmed. The other thing behind that too, is I'd say is like, one of the things that contributes to that is like really lacking a prioritization framework for making sure that you prioritize, hey, these are the things that have to get done, that I need to do, that I want to do, that are going to have the biggest leverage in my business. And here's the someday would be nice list. Like that's not mission critical. And when somebody blends these and they're not disciplined and really discerning between which ones really need to get done and which ones really are just like a to-do list someday, a wish list. Now you just look at all of these collectively as one list, and all of a sudden you feel overwhelmed. Instead, my suggestion would be to like really parse down, hey, what are the one or two or three things at the most? Like for me, my magic number is 2. Like what's in 2 big things I can get done today? And then that feels a whole lot less overwhelming, and you get more executed, you feel less overwhelmed, you get less tired, and therefore you need, less rest because you're not going crazy.
Yeah. The other thing is, I would say, I mean, there are some good suggestions. I guess I'll give you some credit. That's some good stuff over there. But the other thing is, I think it's important is the calendar. We talk about that the Get-A-Life Getaway is a lot about calendar, especially on day 3. And one of the things I found that calendar allows you to be more intentional. I think one of the reasons why we get burnout, we feel like we're, tired or whatever, is because your mind is never intentional in that specific moment, not present in this moment. It's always somewhere else. It's always kind of thinking about something else. So if I go and have a podcast scheduled at this particular time, I have to be 100% present in this very moment to dedicate my whatever attention to it. And then after that, I have a coaching call. So then I dedicate my time to that particular thing, right? So the calendar, if you start putting things in your calendar, allows you to, let's say, calendar run your life, but in a way you're running the calendar so that you can be more intentional. So now it starts to prevent you from going in 20,000 directions. I hope that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Because that's a lot. That's a valuable tool.
Yeah, it's a really, really valuable tool. And the other thing I would say is, because now it's like we talk about the burnout, whatever it might be. What people I think don't do is this, especially someone who is very busy. And I see this a lot in this, we were coaching people in Life on Air, is someone who comes in and let's say does 80, 100 hours a week working. One of the first things I ask him, so what's your morning routine look like? He's like, what morning routine? Right? So that means like first thing in the day, you give it to yourself kind of a thing. Start with 5-10 minutes, because I think people don't give that mental space for themselves, because the minute they give up, they just go till the end of the day kind of a thing, right? So maybe there is that morning routine, that kind of a time for yourself. And then over time, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger to a point where maybe once a week, you spend several hours just, kind of decompressing, like Sabbath. People talk about Sabbath, right? Whatever, like maybe once a month or once a week, you turn off all the electronics, you turn everything off from your phones and computers and everything, and you just either go walk or hang out outside or just spend time with yourself, or you stare at the wall or whatever it might be. And you'll be shocked how much that can help you with your kind of a mental kind of a peacefulness and all those kinds of things. There is something to be said about people who go and meditate. You know what I mean? It's a practice. But I think it's such an important thing to be able to go, especially in our society, to kind of unplug from that. You know what I mean? And people worry that I can't unplug because all this stuff. So maybe, it's a steps. Start with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because as you start growing it, guess what? You're going to have to set up your life so somebody else is going to start taking care of certain things so that you can do that. So I think that's another thing that I think people are missing out on.
Yeah, yeah. I think, that there's value in that, and taking some time to really think and reset. I think of like meditation as almost like a reset. Like it's an opportunity for you. And by the way, whether you use the word quiet time, meditation, prayer time, whatever it is, like it's just quiet time for you. It doesn't have to be you don't have to be like chanting or hymning or anything. And so like, I think also another mistake is, packing your day with too much and doing things you don't like. Like these are things that I think also drain your battery quicker than others. And so try to get those things off your plate that you shouldn't be doing, of course, through the seed process. We've talked about this: elimination, automation, delegation. Getting those things off your plate is a huge, huge thing to help you focus in your unique area of strength. And then the other thing too, I realized this for myself, man, is like placing a timeline on things can add a lot of stress and make you feel overwhelmed, when in fact, 99 times out of 100, that timeline is yours. Like there is no, an asteroid is going to hit the Earth in 16 hours moment. It's just like,
well, if you read the news, yeah, it is hitting in like 16 hours.
yeah, well, it could be, but like for real life,
exactly.
It's your deadline that you put in yourself. And by the way, I'm not opposed to deadlines. I'm not opposed to timelines, but make it something that is maybe, aspirational, but not, like
it's stretching you, not,
not just going to destroy you and like give you some, because that's the other thing too, is like, you got to realize how you perform best. Is it under periods of stress or not? And I'll tell you, a lot of people think they operate better under stress, but in my experience, that's not true. It's just that like you finally do it under stress because you can no longer procrastinate.
Make a deadline that's stretching you, not stressing you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
trademark.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like so I think, in addition, like look at that timeline carefully. Like, is there a real reason for that? Or would just, you're creating these false, milestones for yourself that are just stretching you out, stressing you out. I look at that. And then the other thing too, and this is something, again, another lesson I learned, you will never catch up. And this gets back to the mindset that we talked about before.
Yeah, totally. I can catch up. I will catch up.
It's like trying to catch up on a treadmill. You're never going to catch up when you're running on a treadmill. Like there is no such thing.
Yeah.
So I've realized this this literally took me years. I'm a slow learner. This took me years to figure out, is you will never catch up. There will always be something you can do, and you just got to be okay with that and just put it aside, put it into your Asana list or your Google sheet, or write it on your Post-it note, whatever it is. And just be okay with that, because as you get things done, the next obstacle, the next task appears. And like, this is just something that I've learned, is like, as I get better for spotting opportunities, now I see where something can be improved, or we're missing a little automation over here, or this can be tweaked, or we're going to do a new event or whatever. And so like, just be okay with that and let go of that, because that just creates, when you're trying to achieve an unachievable goal, all you can feel is stressed. So just realize, like, I'm okay with not getting everything done. And that's okay, because as long as I get those few things done well, then like that's all that matters. Like that's all that matters. And so this is another, I think, a manifestation of like a perfectionist syndrome, where people want to do everything perfectly, which by the way is another great way to stress yourself out. Just getting that thing done, and then moving on. Like when you got to move on. Just a few things that I've learned.
Yeah, I think these are some really good points. I think a lot of it has to do with being aware of yourself. If you think about it, just what's going on in my life? What's happening? Is there the difference that it's been like before than is now? What's stressing me? What's stretching me? You're asking yourself and being aware of it. You know what I mean? And if it's a lot of it is mental, like you were saying, like the thing that's happening in my mind that I'm thinking about and all those kinds of things. So if that's the case, give yourself some space. Sometimes it's just a matter of giving yourself some grace, to give yourself some grace. And when you start looking from that perspective, things starts to shift a little bit and you don't get stressed out so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because you think about it, dude, because like and I know we're talking about all the stuff within your average workday because that's the stuff that needs to be addressed. This is why, for instance, people will go on a vacation and all that happens is they come back and now they have a backlog of stuff to catch up on because they didn't fix all the stuff before they went on the vacation. And now it's even more stressful for them. And so, I mean, plus how many times have you heard people say like, they come back from a vacation, I need a vacation from my vacation. Like, because like you're so used to work, take a hard vacation, and then you're just tired again. Like instead, create micro vacations throughout your schedule. Live, and I think of macro rest and micro rest. Like so, macro rest could be you're to take off, a week or a few weeks or a month from your business. A micro break or a micro rest could be taking a nap or getting up and taking a walk around your neighborhood or go getting a massage. Like, you got to incorporate both of these, I believe. But at the core of all of this is like you still got to fix your day. Like that's one of the biggest things that's causing like the issue. It's not necessarily that you're just old and tired all the time. There's other things to look at.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you got anything else, man?
No, I think just recognizing, being aware of it. Give yourself some grace. Like the mini vacations that you're talking about, a morning routine. Maybe it's take one day a week, the Sabbath kind of a thing. Just create a rule for yourself, and this is the day I'm not going to work. You know what I mean? And is things going to burn down? Is the house going to burn down? No. You know what I mean? For most cases, you know what I mean? So just knowing that. And the other thing I would just say is this, there's popped into my head is like, a lot of times people feel like I need to control things, and things are on my control, then things are not so good. And that's what's stressing them out too, right? I want to make sure that I know where my kids are at, for instance, right? And all those kinds of things. You can't control any of that. So if you really think about it, there's not much in life that you can't control. If you come to agreement with that, all of a sudden, maybe it's not stressing you so much, So there is a lot of truth to behind some of those things. So just take it with what we're sharing and see if it works for you.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully this has been valuable for you. If you've enjoyed this, tune in next week for another topic. Come join us in our Life in Air Facebook group. If you just type in Life in Air, you'll find us. We have the main page, which is our event announcements and things like that. And then we have a group where we talk about building a life and business you love. Hope to see you over there. We'll see you next week, everyone. Take care.